Hello, everyone. I am super excited. Today is the day I'm doing the Q&A session. Woo, I've got my flip chart back here. I got quite a few questions from a lot of different people, so thank you so much if you've already submitted your question. If at any point you have any other questions, feel free to drop them into the chat. I have a little thing here, so I will be checking the chat to see if there's any other questions. I want to start with some of the testimonial, everyone had a lot of breakthroughs and aha moments. And I want to really just kind of read some of what you guys have been saying about the speakers in the event. I know I'm really excited when I saw a lot of these. So I'm just going to go ahead and dive in here. I got quite a few. So Echo, she says, thank you for your initiative. The virtual clinic was a welcome experience. The standout session for me was the one with Christian and you on feel. The example of the horse stepping down the slope is the best explanation I've heard to connect the dots about what you need to have feel in order to have the horse sitting and coming in through the front. So thank you so much, Echo. And she has a question. I will address her question a little bit later. And then Ellie, she says, I really loved what Kaylee King said about principles being different from technique. Once we get our principles right, we can use a multitude of concordant techniques. So thank you, Ellie. Sherry, she says, I was almost in tears hearing Teak read about Bill Dorrance. Would love more of the natural horsemanship connection and feel. And ahas were that we need way more of these. How much I truly miss connecting with other lifelong learners. And one of the biggest gifts for me was in day one, seeing how healthy and fit all of the speakers were. And it was a reminder to myself that my physical and emotional and mental health is vital to have the best connection with my horses. So, and she says, thank you. So thank you so much, Sherry, for sharing that. Those are beautiful words. Linda says, Teak mentioned different colors that horses see better than others and how that could be a small change to take into consideration. Thinking on a whole different level. David Lynchman and Warchiller always have something thoughtful to say, and I enjoyed their talks as well. The endurance rider, Jessica Isbrecht, was interesting too. I didn't know much about endurance before today, so thank you. I'm so excited. I love it when you guys are like learning about new sports and new disciplines because of the event. That's a lot of fun. Okay, yes. So this came from one of our members, Terrell, I believe it was. And so I'm just going to read for you her question. So basically, she has a horse, and when she goes to pick her feet, when I clean her front left hoof, this is the same hoof that she used to try and take away from me. So obviously she's had some issues with this hoof for whatever reason, this leg, and she occasionally still does try. So she first got her horse last June, so I guess it's a fairly new relationship. She's very sound, she's sound. Her feet are in good condition. She's regularly trimmed by the farrier. She's shoeless. There's nothing like vet related, anything like that. And what she's asking is, how do I discourage what could turn into a bad and dangerous habit? Because when I go to clean her feet after a rider's cooling session, she starts to lean on me. And she weighs, 1,000 pounds. I'm only 112 pounds. It's a very awkward position for me, bending over her hoof, and she's leaning into me. And so basically what she's asking is, what do I do? My horse is leaning against me. Please help. So this is a great question. Thank you so much. And I just want to say, everyone that submitted questions, you guys have asked amazing questions. And I think that shows the type of people that have come and attended this clinic. Like, you guys know your stuff. And so thank you so much again this is a really good question. So what to do when my horse tries leaning all of their weight onto me on one foot while I'm trying to pick their feet? And the simple answer for that is basically, horses, and this applies to riding as well. Okay, so let's say with rein contact, horses cannot lean against something if they have nothing to lean against. Okay, so if your horse is leaning on you, whether it's leaning on your reins or leaning on you, to go and pick up your foot, pick her foot or whatever, then that means you're giving her something to lean against. So you're probably, let me just show you, you're probably putting your shoulder into her, you're probably holding her foot up. So you're giving your horse something to lean into. So horses, and I want you to write this down, okay, if you're taking notes today. Horses cannot lean if they have nothing to lean against, okay? So basically for me, what this means is when I'm going to pick my horse's feet, I'll just go ahead and hide this quickly. So when I'm going to pick up my horse's feet, it is their job. It's my horse's job to hold their foot. Okay, like you said, I mean, they weigh 1,000 pounds. It's not my job to hold their foot for them. Okay, that's their job. There are some jobs which are my responsibility, and there are some jobs which are the horse's responsibility. So you need to make certain things your horse's responsibility, and picking feet is one of those things. So when I am asking my horses to, pick their feet, I kind of tap on their foot, and they will shift their weight for me, and they will kind of lift their foot. They might not pick it up all the way, I'll kind of guide their foot into the position that I want. But in theory, I should just be holding their foot like this, and I'm just quickly cleaning it, and then I set their foot back down. Guess what would happen if one of my horses tried to lean on me? Boop. It's called gravity. They're going to drop their own foot, and they're going to kind of, whoa. Okay, they do that a few times, and guess what? They're going to at some point figure out that they need to hold their foot up for you, because again, they can't lean on you if you give them nothing to lean against. So if they shift their weight and their foot falls on the floor, and you're annoying them trying to ask them to pick up their foot again, I mean, how many times are you going to do that before at some point your horse is just like, oh, fine, like get it over with, like just do it. So yeah, I'm not, unless I'm like putting on medicine or something, I'm not really putting any pressure. I'm just kind of holding their foot, but it's their job to actually sort of carry their own foot up. Okay, so they have to hold the weight. I'm just like kind of gently holding it, scooping it out. I'm not really applying any pressure. I might, like I said, hold their foot a little bit tighter if I'm like putting on some medicine or something like that. But still, if they're, shifting and moving around, or they're trying to give me a hard time, boop, gravity. So I'm not putting in more effort, because that's the horse's responsibility. So that is one thing that I want to say. And also I kind of mentioned it carries over in the saddle as well. So when a horse is pulling on you, when it's kind of heavy on the forehand or running into the ground or whatever, that's probably because you're giving the horse something to pull against. So when it comes to this type of things, and again, I'll just kind of show the question here again. So her question was, what do you do when your horse is leaning on you? And the simple answer is, don't let them lean on you. Now, you mentioned in your question that it's kind of one foot in particular. So to me, this is a new horse, a new relationship. I don't know what your routine is, what your habit is. Maybe you pick all other 3 feet first, and then that just so happens to be the last foot you go to pick every single time. Like, I don't know. So you might need to just kind of check what it is in your routine that you're doing. Like, am I always finishing with that foot? Like, oh, okay, that's why. Maybe she's a little bit tired, but that's not an excuse. You still need to not let her lean on you. And then the other thing is, what you can do is, if you take your hand and you make a little kind of like this with your thumb, okay, just put it like that so that your thumb is sticking there. So that little sweet spot in their kind of shoulder here, there's a little triangle. So it's kind of where their belly is, and there's a little triangle. If you just kind of use your thumb and just kind of gently, you don't have to jab them, okay, but just kind of gently put some pressure, that's a pressure point on the horse. So, when you're picking the feet, and again, let me move this so you guys can see. When you're picking the feet, don't lean on them, okay? But if you feel her starting to come towards you with your other free hand, just quickly put this right on that little triangle, that little sweet spot right here. Just go boop, 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 and she will move away from it, okay? It doesn't hurt her, but you can feel it on your own arm. I mean, you can feel it. I can poke myself in the armpit. It doesn't hurt, but I can feel it. And my tendency is going to be to move away from it. So that's it. That's just very simple technique. Just kind of gently ask her to move off of you. And because it's a pressure point, no matter how big they are, they'll move away from that. And you can always practice that before you go to actually pick up the foot. You can practice in the arena or whatever, when you're lunging or whatever, like you can just practice moving them around on these pressure points using your thumb, just like this. So that way, when you go to pick her feet, that she already knows to kind of not lean against that pressure. So, okay, so hopefully I've answered that question. Let me move on to the next one. Whew, okay, that was a very good question.